Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crate Expectations. This is the first time we are recording live on my Twitch channel. You guys can find the link to my Twitch channel in the video description if you so desire. You can also go to Sarah's channel on YouTube. It's for the second half of this. I never shout you out at the start because I always forget, but I also usually don't wait this long to let you talk. Sarah, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I miss Little Man, but I do. It's good to record again. We tried to record I think 3 different times last week, and all of them fell through for various reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just not our week.
No, it was it was not. That's all right though. Maybe.
These things happen.
Apparently. Are you okay now though?
I think so.
Me too.
I hope
So
so.
last week, I'll let you know if I find out otherwise. So, uh, so last week we wouldn't have had any fresh news to talk about, really. Though this week we almost have too much.
I mean, yes and no. I guess there wasn't anything last week, was there? Because yeah, I don't think there was like really anything last week.
Did Cal Drogo come out last week?
Did he come out? I thought he came out 2 weeks ago.
I don't keep track of these things. I
Oh,
normally I do. I've been waiting for Cal Drogo. I keep calling him that. I need to stop. But I've been waiting for him to come out because I
he's
don't know.
because he's
He's
because he's
he's the last one that you need.
I guess.
Well, it puts Leia on a timetable, and now Leia is out. Her kid is here, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the event might be tomorrow.
I so I actually went back and looked up Java's just to verify, and they did release his kit, and then they did the on a Tuesday, they did the content update on the Wednesday, and once the content update went live for everyone, he was in game, you could get tickets, it was a whole thing. Um, so yeah, I fully expect to see her tomorrow.
Oof. And gosh, it's so frustrating on some levels because Drogo will not even be shipments farmable for me for a while.
Yeah, it's and so I didn't look this up because I couldn't, well, I didn't think of it until just now, to be honest. But I also don't know how I would find this information, but whatever. Well, actually, I could probably find it on Swga events. I couldn't remember if when Jabba went live, if they were all at least in shipments. I know they weren't farmable. Um, but were they in shipments?
I don't know. I know that for a long time after I had Jabba, a lot of people were waiting for Boosh to even be farmable because
Mhm.
that's the next stage.
Yeah, because she went farmable in November.
Yeah.
It was like 2 months after uh the
Oh.
Jabba.
Well, the Scout Trooper isn't even available right now.
Um,
For me, like for crystals, I mean,
right,
you can do
right.
the Gamble pack, I guess.
Um, Boosh was not in shipments, by the way. Just to confirm. Uh, Skiffguard Lando went to shipments September 7th. Jabba, for people who forget, came out September 21st. And Leia did not go to shipments until October 5th.
Oh.
So you couldn't even do it with Leia last time for Jabba.
All right. Yeah, I just don't remember it that well. Though I think there were probably packs, just like there are right now. There are a few packs to buy for Drogo and Scout Trooper while we wait, at least. And they come
Mhm.
with relic materials as well. I think we're going to review those later, right, in your segment?
Yeah, we are. We are gonna want to because they
Nice.
are new and shiny, and you know how I feel about new packs.
Awesome. It's ironic because you don't really buy them that often, but you get excited about the packs.
I know.
It's like this weird byproduct of
Uh,
doing a show is you start looking forward to things that have no impact on you other than the
mhm.
presenting it to other people. You're like, oh, other people will find this at least moderately interesting. I think it's funny that there's a couple different times that I've seen you get tagged for, hey, do you are these is this pack good? Is this pack good? And
Mhm.
I think that in general your stance is math is yuck, and I don't want to do math. So in
Correct.
general, it typically you say like people asking you that it is kind of saying, "Hey, could Sarah do math?" And typically they wouldn't do it, except now it's become established that we talk about packs, and
Mhm.
you become the go-to person. So
I know. And um is now the appropriate time to admit that I never do the math before I say yes or no?
why not? Yeah, it was gonna. I feel like it's been obvious, but I don't know. I'm just trying to get you to spit take. That's all.
Oh man. Um
I feel like that was closer than you're trying to let on.
it wasn't that close. It's fine. Yeah, so we get Leia this week and maybe Princess Nisa goes farmable. She should be farmable. And then I guess it's just we basically will be in the same boat as Jabba.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the kit?
It's a lot. Did
That's
you
what
like skim
she
it
said.
or it's a lot. I was gonna say it's a lot to take in. Um did you
She says that even more.
um so I skimmed it the first time I read it and then I went back and read it and then I went back and read it again and then I went back a fourth time and I didn't like read it. I just went searching for specific things. Um did you do any of that?
I did. I read it one time, and I was really sleepy. And the thing that I didn't catch, and someone can let me know. And this is why God invented chat. But
Mhm.
I want to know how Chupio is not included. They had a little blurb at the start saying, "Why did you make it so that Chupio doesn't work with her?" And they're like, "Well, because of reasons," and blah blah blah. And they gave reasons, and I accept that. But then,
Yeah.
as I was reading the kit, I didn't see any reasons, and so I'm planning on not using Chupio with Leia, but
Hmm.
I didn't see anything in her kit that excluded. Maybe they're gonna add something to Chupio.
Um, I don't think there's anything that actually excludes him specifically. I think it's more of like other people might slot in nicer.
Hmm.
I don't,
But
nicer is probably the wrong word to use, but like,
is that what she said?
I hope not. Um, they said something about like how they create kits now and they try to make them. Actually, I think I have it somewhere. Let's see, where was their exact words? Here it is. They've been better about pre-gating things recently. Example, trench excluding separatist GLs. No net impact to balance of the existing CLS squad.
Whatever that all means.
What does that, is that's like just jargon. Can someone translate that to proper to English I understand? No net imp they just saying like it's not worthwhile because there's nothing that would
Well,
remove that would make you want to take him away from CLS because he'll make CLS worse.
So in chat, Lysius here says that they're changing the Chupio kit to unique to be non-galactic legend.
Oh, did they say that somewhere else
I
that's not in this post?
I don't know. Lysius is always making like he makes really cool graphics for the for stats for all the different new characters and stuff. You can
Mm-hmm.
always I always see these graphics that show like, oh, this character is this is how fast he is compared to all the other characters in the game.
Right.
And Lysius does this, so I'm guessing he has more insight than we have. But that's why God invented the chat. That's like I said. So yeah, that's kind of sad a little bit, but on the other hand, I think that what you're saying is jargon here is at the bottom. I think what he's trying to communicate, and remember, this is Meatface saying it.
Right.
I think he's just trying to say the CLS squad remains unchanged.
Right. Which they were saying that from beforehand. They didn't want to pull anyone away from CLS. And there's things in her kits that specifically say you wouldn't take Han or Chewie. Um, so yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Lacey is saying he just knows what was on Discord. That's fair. We'll see how it all transpires. I mean, I believe him. I think that's it. There's also a lot of verbiage in her kit
Hmm.
that's anti-smuggler, rebel, or not smuggler, but
Scoundrel.
anti-scoundrel. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is crazy because she likes scoundrels.
I know. It just is they're really trying to prescribe specific teams. And I think this is just another way to do it.
It is. I mean, they kind of have to, for especially for something this strong and with the faction this big. You have to imagine it's going to be a pain in the ass for them. In fact, to every time they make a new rebel, they're gonna have to see, hey, is this gonna break Leia? Is she gonna be overpowered now since we're releasing this new character? Because the faction, at least with Jabba, they kind of fabricated a new faction, and they could choose to let whoever in that they wanted to, and exclude characters if they needed to. And they also
Right.
created most of his squad. I mean, he got 3/4 of the. I mean, this Jabba, and then 3 characters were created for Jabba, and then we just have a fifth. Leia is going to have a little bit more than that though, because what do we have?
Hmm.
Well, all we have is Drogo, right?
That is specifically for her.
That they created a new
Oh, I
character
see.
for.
Um, yeah, because the other marquees aren't going to slot like Rex, Nisa, and Scout aren't gonna slot in with her.
Right. Which is fine, and Scout's gonna be cool because that'll be the new conquest character pretty soon. She'll go with him, but
Hmm.
yeah. Otherwise, yeah, she was built with R2 in mind in chat. I mean, I agree with that. Obviously we're gonna have R2D2 and Drogo and Leia, and then the other ones. They added some verbiage. I know that Crumb was saying, "Oh yeah, you're definitely gonna want Old Ben and Kanan,"
Right.
and there's verbiage that kind of points toward it, but I didn't really see a whole lot of reason not to just take a normal tank. You want some kind of taunting tank, I think, to distract because she has that fearless ability that you don't want them to take away. So you want some kind of taunt.
Hmm.
But a rebel Jedi, I, I don't know. Like to me, it seems a little bit like you don't want to have the I don't want to take Kanan away. Maybe I could spare old Ben, but there's not like a crazy amount of incentive to do that. To use a rebel Jedi
I guess I
take.
guess the question is, do you really need both of them? Could you take just one? Could you take just old Ben? Or just Kanan, and then just slot in a rebel attacker instead?
I think that's kind of where I'm leaning. Or maybe you could even just not take one of the Jedi tanks.
Hmm.
And instead you could do I don't know if this would be a good combo, but something like Cassian and K2SO or something, or
Um,
Chase, something like that.
I've heard a lot of people, not a lot, I've heard a few people say K2 and Cassian, particularly K2 because of R2 being there with number crunch. Um, and all of that like stat sharing and stuff that would go on.
That's a good point.
Uh, I guess you're just losing out on, I think it's in her leadership ability. She specifically talks about rebel Jedi tanks, which you would obviously lose out on. And is it is it worth it? Like will it make or break basically if you're ignoring that part of her kit?
So from what I remember, and this is one thing that I did go back and look. I mean, I read it one time, and then I did go look at specific items that I had thoughts about. The only things that I could see, so I could be wrong, and these kits are nearly not worth just diving into without being able to see it in practice because they're just too complex. This was a novel. This
It's
is an epic amount of text,
Mhm.
and what I did look at though for the Rebel Jedi tanks is that there's whenever they go, she assists, which is probably pretty nice. I'm guessing she does a pretty decent amount of damage.
Mhm.
And the other thing is they have a really strange conditional of whenever someone has protection up, they do 20% max health damage. And so my first thought was, oh, that'll work on Jabba, but then he's immune to percent health damage,
Oh, that's a good point.
right? So I don't know if that actually would make it seems to the point of that there's like this whole paragraph about it, and it almost seems like why would you plan around that unless there's something very specific they had in mind.
Right. That's Yeah, I'm curious. And I just don't know. Like I personally was thinking about it. I'm like, if you like looking at old Ben and Kanan in particular, I don't have Kanan at Relics, so like I'm not putting him with her. Like it's not gonna happen. I would have to take him to Relics, which is fine. I could do it if I had to, but I would have to do it still. So do I pull old Ben over and then I slot in a rebel attacker instead? And is that good enough? Especially if you're using her mainly on offense, which seems to be what they're saying to do. I could see two tanks being better on defense because then you're making it a lot harder to get to Leia. You're now having to get around two tanks to get to her and get her out of the way. But
Yeah, I like the idea of using OG Leia there. Maybe she might be good. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't. I think you need a tank of some sort. I don't know if it needs to be a Jedi one. We'll have to see. I'm already running out of tanks though, or not tanks. Sorry, but Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much demand in so many different squads. You know, Star Killer needs one. Jedi Master Kenobi needs a few at least. Jedi Master Luke obviously needs some.
Mm-hmm.
Qui Gon needs some. You start running out.
Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
because I don't know, because it's Rebel Jedi, it's so there's only two.
Right.
Because I was even thinking about it, I'm like, well, I completely skipped over the Rebel part at first, and I was like, Jedi tank, okay. And then I was like, well, there's Juhani, and then I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
Rebel Jedi.
Get Elf Jedi. Where are you, Elf
Yeah,
Jedi?
Elf Jedi. Perfect. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I don't I don't know.
it looks really good. It looks like there's going to be a lot of assists and a lot of she kind of surprised me in the sense that she doesn't have anything that blocks. I guess maybe that'll be reserved for the next Galactic Legend that's more defensive styled, but she surprised me in the sense that I thought maybe we'd see more restrictions like Jedi. So like there's been a tradition ever since Kenobi, Jedi Master Kenobi came out that they punish you for trying to have mechanics
Hmm?
that assist and help each other, or like so Kenobi stops you from gaining bonus turn meter at all, and then Lord Vader stops you from getting bonus turn meter while you have dots on you, which is pretty pervasive. It happens a lot. And then we have Jabba that is a little different, but as long as you have Boosh, then you can't assist or do
Right.
anything like that with hers. And so I figured that Leia was going to have something like that. And there are some things that punish that, I guess, but it's not as ball busting as I kind of thought it might be.
I mean, part of me is kind of happy that it's not. I think maybe
Right.
they're seeing that it doesn't need to be that like a much of a stranglehold.
Well, and I think that comes from this mountain of text that they're calling a kit here is going to be
Yeah.
very strong in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing, and I think in almost every case you can't. It'd be a very difficult thing to argue that the AI knows what it's doing.
Oh, totally. Totally agree. And I will say too, like with her kit, this is also going against a lot of what we see. And a lot of people I had to point out, she calls out specific roles of characters, which we're also going to get, by the way, like icons that show up above. I
Mm.
guess I
Yep.
don't know if it's above like the character's head or what the deal is. Um,
To
because
tell
she
you
calls
which
out
role.
specific
Yeah.
roles, like,
Depending on
attacker.
who she hits. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the kit though is calling out the enemy roles, and I think a lot of people were reading it as her calling out allies, and it's not.
Mm.
So it's even more like if you're not really paying attention to what's being said, you could easily get confused in that way too.
Sorry, I need to ban someone
Oh
real
yeah.
quick.
I just saw that.
I'll let Prime do it. Thank you, Prime, in advance. So, yeah, the kit. I like the idea of more icons as long as it's not. It doesn't add a whole lot of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be. I like that. I've always thought that the more. So there's this thing with Hera that I wish that they would give an icon to her for where it's if she hits the weakest character, then she causes expose on them. I think
Right.
something like that.
Right.
And I never thought there was a visual cue for that, but if you look really closely at the very, very start of her turn,
Mm-hmm.
the weakest, it just flashes in red above their head for about half a second and it says weakest.
Mm. I wish that they would turn that into an actual cue like how they do with the bounty hunters, because the
Yeah.
bounty hunters, you've got it like clearly pointing at who you need to
Hmm.
target for your contract. So,
Yeah, I agree. I've wanted that forever. I mean, Bosk has a similar thing of when he hits the weakest target, he does extra damage to him. And for the most part, they're things that I don't care about as much. They're mechanics that don't make a crazy impact, but there'd be things that I would like to see.
hmm
And especially because you can collapse the bar of icons, I feel like that's room for improvement on the game. I've wanted that for a while now.
yeah.
Especially, I think when I first saw the contract icon, it broke my mind. I was like, oh, they can do that,
hmm
and they're like, yeah, we can. We just choose not to. Because why?
We just don't want to.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
I'm
not a
ass
thing for
I
us.
would I would assume when you collapse the icons that the role icon would stay visible. I shouldn't assume this, but I would like to assume that would be the case.
Yeah, I hope I'm it's gonna take a while to get used to this kit. I'm looking forward to using it. I think it looks like it's going to be a really fun. Everyone, you just ramp your damage and destroy people,
hmm
and and Lord Vader is going to pout in his room for hours because he can't. He wants to be able to ramp as well as her and do this much damage. But he needs to realize that he is going to be placed on defense sometimes, as opposed to Leia, who's probably just offense. It's what it's looking like.
Yeah. Um, Have you seen some? It's not me doing it. I'll clarify that from the start, but I've seen some people already floating around like math for how hard some of these
I
characters are gonna hit.
I would never accuse you of doing something with math.
I did a little today.
You added alphabet characters.
That is not unheard of. Algebra.
Yeah, that's not what you were doing. That's that's all right. Canada can think that's algebra, I guess. That's it's not like the American school systems are much behind that either. So
Uh, um, but some people have been doing like figuring out how much of a percentage gain like Khal Drogo is gonna have on his first turn. Um,
jeez.
and it looks like it's gonna, I think the number I saw was like 350% or something ridiculous.
He's gonna have how much of what?
350% more offense. It was something ridiculous like that.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounded absolutely awful.
I mean, that's what he's required at Relic 7. He's a relic. That's a relic number that I don't regret at all because he's the DPS of that squad. I
Right.
mean, everyone else is going to be decent for it, but it's all going to be a construct for him and Leia to dismantle a team, is what I kind of perceive.
I could see a lot of people bumping him up further as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I was saying that on Gambit last night or something. That at least for where my account is, that he's an easy Relic 8 without really even seeing his impact. As long as I know that he's the damage dealer,
Hmm.
then I mean, everyone wants Relic 8. She's gonna want Relic 9. She wants as many relics as she can because a lot of her stuff is based on her max health.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see what the final standard of modding is going to be. I want to see her kit and her damage modifiers and how much damage she really does. Because if she's not doing a ton of damage, she's just facilitating damage, and then her ult is the thing that kills people, then maybe you just mod her for pure health. I'm not sure. She and
Yeah.
she and Backpack Emperor can fight over it.
And you just have her survive, I guess, is the idea.
Yeah, and have Drogo kill everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how Jabba works, anyways. Jabba it exists for a while. So you have Boosh killing people for a little bit, and then the Rancor eats someone, and then Boosh kills some more people.
Right.
It's just a construct of those two. It's just a tag team, and everyone else there helps facilitate that. But that's the core that at its essence that you have one guy who's just demolishing people on a turn by turn basis, and one who's waiting to call his pet to eat the sentient beings across the board form from him.
And you think everyone else is helping, and really, they're just they're just distractions.
Yeah, they are a little bit. Speaking of distractions, let's go to the trigger photo, shall we?
Oh, yeah. It is triggering.
Let's see if I can find the button for it. That's the always the problem here.
Man.
That's not the right one. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. You it's so triggering it broke it.
Yeah, hold on a sec. All right, there we go. So here's the trigger photo. I guess we can try to make it a little bigger, which is an obvious thing that some people say. And this one takes just a minute until you realize, well,
Mm-hmm.
why is General Skywalker the highest GP there?
Because he has all of his Zetas. Just kidding. That's not the reason.
I mean, he is the only one with his full number of Zetas.
He's got 6.
Herfa thinks that they don't have mods. I think the biggest thing
Oh.
you guys are missing and it's such a
Once you see
an
it,
abomination. Yeah, so little lower relic levels, sure.
yeah, sure. I mean,
I
yeah,
can't believe
there it is.
finally Wolfman finally
Yeah,
got it. They don't have ults on
yeah.
any of the GLs.
Like, you got 5 GLs, so that is a ton of tickets that you're just like, okay. And then do you just collect the mats and are like, I'm never putting these on? 6 GLs. Is there six? Oh, geez, there's six. I missed Luke down there. Luke, you get relic 5 on top of.
Oh,
Oh, man.
sad little guy. Oh, what are you
That just made
doing?
myself even, that just made me even more sad.
Oh man,
Wow. Well, yeah,
that's
there it is. 6 without alts.
what are you doing?
Look at how many characters are stronger than Luke. Like, remove, like, if you remove the other GLs, it's like 4 regular characters.
Should have more GP than Luke. Yeah, and it's not like they're Relic 9 either.
Are you sure it's only 6 as Prime? There could be other
Uh,
ones that we just don't know about. Ah,
yeah, I kind of hope they early unlocked Leia, and she just doesn't have her ult either.
man.
All right, so we're gonna go over to Sarah's channel now, guys. So you can
Mhm.
find the link, the people watching on YouTube at least. So you can find the link at somewhere below us. Somewhere you can click on that, go directly to her channel. Make sure to like and subscribe, both of us, and or you could go to the video description
Mhm.
if you so desire, and the link will be there as well. So we'll see you on the other side.
For dessert.
Sure.